What is up, everybody? We are here 24 hours after the Direct. I don't know when this is airing, but that's when we're recording it because we need to talk about Princess Peach Showtime. This to me...
I love that. That's how they should do it for the official trailers.
Yeah, I could see a Toad doing Showtime! For me, this was the highlight of the Nintendo Direct. This was, it just got me excited. I felt like it was cool to see Nintendo exploring a different genre space almost. When Peach is doing like these 3D beat 'em up actions, I was like, oh, Nintendo doing a little dodge, doing a 3-hit combo. I was very excited about this game from the second I saw it. Andre, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I mean, you say different genre. It's different genres, really.
Yeah.
It seems like every costume or outfit is going to control and handle entirely differently. This got me jazzed. Like, I had no idea what to expect from the very first teaser, except for the fact that it looked good, like visually. Now I can see that not only is that still the case, it looks interesting. It has all these different gameplay styles, whether you're a detective or a chef or a swordswoman or a ninja, and we haven't even seen officially even half of them, seemingly. You had a whole video where you went into 10 possible costumes. That has me excited.
I was doing 10.
Oh, 10. I'm like, is there something happening? Oh, no. And that I mean, it looks good. It looks varied. It looks fun. It seems, it seems to be a huge step up. I understand it's fair to compare it to the previous Princess Peach game being Super Princess Peach. This one has me interested. I want to see more. The gameplay just looks catchy, fun, and yeah, my only concern is, is each gameplay style going to be deep enough? And I'm not too worried about it. My only concern is like if some of them might be a little shallow. Like the chef game, for instance, we saw like a little mini game or something. I'm like, okay, that's not quite doing it for me. But then you see her dole out these awesome ninja moves or swords play or doing detective stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, that looks awesome. It almost feels to me like, Jake, and I don't know if you play the classic Paper Marios, but it's reminding me a bit of that, where like each level or chapter, if you will, is like very much its own bespoke thing, minus the carryover of like battles. But it thematically, story-wise, narratively, it's all very self-contained. I'm kind of getting that feel here too, except even grander because of like the gameplay leaning into that. It's almost like if each Mario power-up had its own whole world dedicated to it. That's what this game is, and I'm digging it. I'm loving how that looks.
Yeah, for me, the comparison is Luigi's Mansion. You have kind of like the way the levels are set up. It's almost like that single screen puzzle box idea. Right. And something that I think is pulling me in more than the Luigi's Mansion games is the sense of place and the differences in the gameplay identity. From the bottom to the top of Luigi's Mansion, you're doing a lot of the same stuff. But like here, going into that theater, it's not a spooky mansion. You don't know what's going to be going on in that theater. And I love how like the commitment to the bit is awesome. There's this really small part in the trailer where if you look closely, the little like minion enemies, by the way, they're like little purple grapes. And it's because the villain is Grape and the Sour Bunch, and right. these guys are little grapes, and there's like at one point in the trailer you think you see flying overhead like a little bird grape, and it's got these wings and it's got a little beak, but if you look closely it's just like holding fake wings and wearing like a bird mask because they're doing theater stuff. And that's like awesome. Something about that is pulling me in. When you get a look at the inside of the theater when they're in the lobby, you can see that Grape and the Sour Bunch have put up these posters from the ceiling that are hanging down, and they're posters for the shows, but now they're starring the grapes. And like she's not taking down the theater, she's not destroying it, she's like, no, this is my show now. And there's a degree to which I just find that cool and fun. So yeah, I don't know, there's like so many different things tugging here that are really pulling me in. Yeah,
literally tugging, Jake, because I'm literally watching a scene with, I think it's Ninja Peach taking on a marionette boss fight thing.
Yes.
It's like, it's so good. Like, everything here feels, I mean, you could literally show these scenes and present them as their own games, seemingly, and you'd believe it, because that's what it looks like. And I do love how they're, as you were touching on, like, how they're theming everything, how it's, like, kind of within the context of this theatrical show, setting, and it actually makes sense here, like, because they've dabbled with things like this before using, like, that construction built look like in Yoshi's Crafted World or the Paper Mario games, but here like it seems to fully make sense, and it's almost working on like a meta level, and I'm really digging that. I'm like, yeah, this has a good look. I'm liking it. It does kind of seemingly combine the sensibilities of the Luigi's Mansion playstyle, but with like a whole new, with these different motifs, and it has me hooked.
Yeah, that marionette guy you're talking about, that's another thing. I really like that because, again, it looks like the head is like a grape guy, but the rest of the body, like he's playing a role. They have to do it by the strings because and I bet you they show, like, you beat that boss and they show, like, up in the rafters, there's like grapes controlling his limbs.
I'm sure.
You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, that's going to be so cool. And on the subject of the gameplay styles, I think it's kind of funny because, like you said, we see that Patissiere Peach, and she is doing the cakes, and we go, oh, okay, is that all there is to it? But, like, we see this kind of, like, 2D fight between Peach and the Kung Fu guy.
Right.
But we also see the Kung Fu Peach, like, jumping between all those little platforms and doing, like, some other Kung Fu related activities in the levels before getting to kind of like the big final thing. And I feel like Patissiere Peach, there's going to be some other abilities there that we don't even know about. Like just walking around doing, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh my God, like what is that even going to be? And I feel like the powers that they've already revealed, Sword Fighter, Detective, Patissiere, Kung Fu, those are so fun, and they're really making me wonder. Our comments had great ideas about what the other 6 were actually in that video I made. And there's one that they've got me convinced is an ice skater. And like a show on ice.
I picked up on that, yeah.
Oh my God, like a show on ice, like that kind of thing. That rules. That's gonna be like such a good trailer whenever they show that, like Peach skating around doing something. Like imagine that boss fight, the way the level is gonna open up, the way the movement changes. Like that's awesome. That's really fun. Yeah.
Especially when you compare, when you take how smooth the game already looks and you compare that with the ice skating we've already seen in Mario Galaxy and how good that felt. It's going to be, I think they're going to have something really special there. I mean, as almost every chapter or level we've seen, every power seemingly is already. Like even you mentioned like the kind of beat 'em up style mechanics we've seen. They look good. It looks like it has a good chunky feel to it.
Oh, 100%. And I even want to just like shout out the way that this trailer is cut, because I got to tell you, first 45 seconds of this trailer, I was kind of like, okay, I don't know about that. Then it elevates. Then it turns the heat up. Because when she's just doing that little ribbon thing, I was like, I don't know, this feels a little Lego Star Wars to me. And then like, oh my God, having that extra element of it, to me, the thing that really sold me, the moment where I completely changed my tune, was the dodge, the Sword Fighter dodge. I just couldn't believe that I saw that in like a Nintendo game. It's not just a jump.
Dark Souls.
Exactly. It's like a perfect timing kind of dodge, and then jumping over, doing that 3-hit combo. Oh man, that looks so fun. And I feel like there's still so many little things that they could tell us about this game. A lot of Nintendo games, a lot of Nintendo Switch games have like a co-op element where you can play with somebody. I wondered if we could see something like that here. That would be really cool to reveal down the line. I don't know how they'd make that work because I feel like they're pretty attached to Princess Peach, but like Princess Daisy just running around with you, like that's a dream. But you know, that would be really fun. Yeah, and I also just kind of want to address to the I think that the dress-up theme of it with the transformations was a really good idea, and in a lot of ways is kind of redeeming the sins of the past with Super Princess Peach. Because I think it's obvious to anybody that the issue with that game was when you finally make a game starring a female lead and your brain immediately goes to, okay, it's got to be about emotions. That is obviously influenced by negative stereotypes to even think that and go in that direction. And I think a lot of people might say, oh, but isn't like dress up the same thing? And I would go, absolutely not. Have you ever seen a superhero movie? There is always a scene of them putting the suit on. Have you ever played Super Mario Odyssey? How important was dress up to that game? Like that's a whole thing. And I don't think it has the same kind of negative female stereotypes attached to it, while at the same time still having like a feminine tradition and an energy. I think that was just a really smart, really cool choice, and every time they showed one in this trailer, I thought it looked cool. I was making that short yesterday, and I loved every little scene of like I'm the sword fighter, I'm the detective, like those little vignettes were just like fun to watch, a good time. I think this is serving Princess Peach well, and she's having like her Luigi's Mansion moment right now.
Yeah, that kind of does seem that way. Like, this might be a good opportunity for them to help flesh out the game character of Peach, too. The Mario movie kind of got the ball rolling on that, and this game may continue and run with that direction. I mean, they'll kind of have to, as they have with Luigi and the Luigi's Mansion games. And, you know, it also makes me wonder, like, will we see Mario here? Because one of my actually favorite things about Luigi's Mansion is actually how it kind of gives you this different look at the relationship with the brothers. One of my favorite elements of Luigi's Mansion 3 was when you finally do rescue Mario at the end, and they have to work together to reach, to finish a game. And I always love those moments because you can see these different interactions you never would otherwise. And it would be fun if they have something akin to that here. Not that Peach needs Mario per se, or any character that might appear, but it could give us a different glimpse into their relationship. You know, I think that could be a lot of fun to play off of. Whether in a cutscene at the end, or if it's an actual gameplay mechanic at some point, I don't know. Yeah. But it'll be fun to see how far they go with this idea.
It'd be a cool cameo for sure, because I think you get so deep into this game and you go, oh man, I guess Mario's not in it. So then if he does show up, like, I think we can probably count on, similar to Luigi's Mansion kinda, the trailer is very clear that the Toads are involved here, even though we don't see them anywhere in the gameplay. But the Toads like went to this show with Peach, and the voiceover even says like Peach and a bunch of Toads went to this theater, and then like they're gone. So I'm like, yo, what happened to them? You know, it's like they're out here somewhere. Yeah.
That's where Detective Peach comes in, and she's gonna crack the case. So I guess actually here's a question: do you think, like, is there gonna be interplay between these different gameplay styles or costumes, if you will? Like, are you going to like hop from one to another, then go back to, like, let's say you're a detective, then you go sword fight for a while, then you come back to detective for some reason? Like, do they build on each other in that way, or are they just their own completely independent bespoke regions, and you finish one, you're on to the next?
My instinct says bespoke regions, but I could see them doing like a final boss situation where like you think you've beaten all the worlds, and then you go to the top one and it's like a variety show, and they're like you're going between all this different stuff. I think that would be really cool. Now I'm thinking with the Toads, it'd be kind of fun. Toads are always fun to rescue. I don't know why. They're always, you see them in a little cage and you just go, I got you, little buddy. I'll get in there. But I think a fun twist could also be to reveal that Mario is captured at some point. Like, you don't think that he is, but then it's you think you've like saved all the Toads or whatever, and then Mario's back there. But I want to throw a dart at what I think the real twist of this game is going to be.
Okay.
If you look at the detective part, there is a glass box that has been broken into, and it looks like, based on the sign on the wall, that the thing that has been stolen is a mask. Grape, the villain of the game, is obviously wearing a mask and like a bunch of other like theatrical accoutrements. I think Grape has a look that is not the look that we are seeing, because everybody else is a grape in disguise.
Yep.
So I think Grape is a character that we have not necessarily seen yet, and like, I don't know, like, Peach is a fruit, Grape is a fruit. Are we doing something here? Is something happening?
I didn't think about that. Yeah. Are they actually going to lean into that whole Peach thing? I'm kind of down for this. I would love it. So, that's what's fun about this. They can really go in any number of directions that we wouldn't expect, because we haven't really had a proper Peach game before, besides the one that we don't really talk about, And even if we did, this is clearly very much its own thing. And I love that. This gives them like a whole different space to experiment with. There are like some shades of the Mario gameplay here, but shades of tons of other games too. And I can't wait to try it. It looks awesome. So,
do you think Peach will ever float jump again?
I think we literally see it in this trailer, I think, when she uses her spin attack. It's hard to say whether, or her ribbon thing. It's hard to say whether she's floating because of that, or if it's because of her innate ability. But I think we will see that again. I think that's almost, because we just saw it not too long ago, even in 3D World. So I feel like that, and she did in the Mario movie too. So I think we will see that again. Okay. And possibly even in this game, if it's intrinsic to the game.
Because it's out of wonder, obviously. So I was just thinking.
That's true.
Yeah, I was like, man, it's out of wonder. Doesn't appear to be a focus here. Maybe we're phasing that out. Maybe we're like, we don't like that anymore. That's classic.
No, I think wonder is an exception. The Mario Brothers games always play differently. So I'm not too than the 3D ones. So yeah, I think we'll see it. But yeah.
I heard some people theorizing that Peach sounded different here. I listened to this a few times with that intention, and I did not hear a difference in Peach's voice. Did you happen to pick up on that at all?
You know, I didn't listen to it with the intention of seeing if it sounded different, but nothing stood out to me listening to it. So Nintendo did not mention her as having a voice change. I think they would have already if that were to be something. So yeah, it's probably just new voice samples, you know.
Yeah.
And they have changed, although they have changed Peach's actress a couple of times, I think, over the years, at least once, maybe twice. So you know, I guess it's not the biggest deal if they did, but. You know, we'll find out, I guess, when the credits roll, and we can find out for ourselves.
Yeah, I guess as we're wrapping things up here, what do you think of this March 22nd, 2024 release date?
That sounds like that's right around potential Switch 2 reveal time, doesn't it?
I think so too. Yeah, and I wonder if there's something to that. I wonder if we're gonna see like a visual bump, or if it's just like one of those games. March is kind of like a funny month. If I'm remembering correctly, I don't think there were like any first-party Switch releases this past month, or this past year. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Bayonetta Origins was the one. That was the one, Bayonetta Origins. So it's kind of like a weird spot that Nintendo doesn't use all the time.
Yeah, it is kind of the timing is a little interesting. There used to be a time when they didn't release any games around that. I remember, I think Wind Waker launched around that same time too, and that was like a surprise, like a big first-party title launching in March. So, you know, we'll see if it does correlate to anything involving Switch 2. I will say, regardless, it looks good based on what they've shown here. It probably helps the fact that they have a static, relatively static camera angle, like you have the, it's like Luigi's Mansion again, these more like vignette-like setups. But I'm loving it. It's got like a really good lighting engine, and it's actually making me wonder, like, we don't know who's officially developing this yet, right?
No.
Like, could it be Next Level Games? Like, Mario Strikers wasn't that long ago, but that probably wasn't the entire company working on Mario Strikers, right? So.
Oh man, that's a good question. You're right. If it is them, then that answers a lot of questions. I was so curious about what they've been doing since that Mario Strikers DLC. That would be interesting, and it would be cool that they'd be getting the opportunity to be doing a game that's not Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
I wonder, I don't know, I haven't looked into it, but I wonder if they're even involved in the remake of Luigi's Mansion, or I'm sorry, the remaster of Luigi's Mansion 2.
I mean, even if they are, it's probably like a 3-person project.
Sure.
So.
That's a couple of buddies in their off time.
Yeah, exactly, right. No, honestly, I have no idea. But I still wouldn't imagine that's using the full team. But, if it is, then, maybe they do have like multiple teams now working on different projects. Nintendo does own Next Level Games now. They acquired them a couple years ago at this point. So they could have grown in that time, maybe. I don't know. I haven't been following the LinkedIn listings or whatever. But we'll see. I do say, for me, visually, it does have that Next Level kind of style.
Yeah.
It has awesome animation, great lighting, both things that Luigi's Mansion 3 is well known for. But whoever's making it, they're doing a great job so far.
Yeah. I want to say though, here are my big criticism. I think there's one element of this game that is not living up to its potential. I think. Yeah. Okay. I like the grapes. I like the little guys with the big noses that for some reason they light up. I think that's fun. Looking forward to seeing how they use that. I think a lot of stuff looks good. The little star buddy. I don't care about that thing.
No, I don't either. It instantly, it just evokes memories of the other random assorted partners over the years that are instantly forgotten about after. Yeah, maybe they might be fine, probably. Nintendo just loves to do this thing where they imbue these gameplay mechanics with a personality. I don't know why they feel like they always have to do this, but they always give them some kind of personality, and that's what they're doing in this case because of the whole ribbon thing. So
it is so evocative. The ribbon attack, the movement, the whole thing. It's like giving me like Super Mario Galaxy. Like you wave the controller, and it does like that's the exact vibe of it. It's also almost like Lumo-like, I would say. So yeah, I don't know. There's something about it that I'm like, oh man, I feel like that could have been better. Like even the fact that like maybe make it more ribbon, less star. Like the star is just so played out at this point. Like so that's my one critique. Go take it back to the shop.
Which chapter, Jake? I'm curious. Are you? I say chapter. I don't know what they're gonna call these. What showpiece, I guess, are you most excited for based on what we've seen? Which costume, I guess.
Ooh, okay. Based on what we've seen, I am just like a sucker for beat 'em up gameplay. So I feel like that Sword Fighter one is calling out to me. But I've got high hopes for the unrevealed ones. And if that one really is ice skating, that's the one that I'm like I would love to see that one more than anything.
All right. So the ones we know about for sure, the one I think I'm really excited to see more of is the detective one, because it's giving me, I mentioned it earlier a little bit, but it is giving me those Paper Mario vibes, and my favorite ones are the mystery-based chapters. There are points literally where you're either acting as a detective or working alongside a detective, and I feel like they could have a really fun take on that in this case. I want to know what the mystery is. I want to know who did it or who done it, and I can't wait to find out. So
let me ask you this: there's one that you can see. There's like the entrance sign to it. It's lit up. It looks like a cowboy type situation, like a western.
Okay.
There's an obvious gameplay mechanic that comes to mind. Will they do it?
Where you shoot things?
Yes. Will they give her a gun?
I mean, that's where it gets tough, because Kirby had something similar in Forgotten Land, and he did shoot things, but it didn't look like a typical pistol though. But I think if you stylize it enough, you could get away with it. Especially actually Mario Party 2 had the whole Western land, and they had it literally like either I think it was a dueling mini game where you shot each other, but they used little you shot corks, like wine corks, so they could do something fun like that, But you're not going to be shooting actual bullets, but they could have Nintendo's take on it. It might be corks, it might be who knows what. Maybe it might be. Actually, no, they couldn't really get away with it. I'm like, maybe they could do it in a way where like the characters are obviously pretending to have been shot.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah. It's fake. It just like makes like a noise, and then the people like fall over or something. Like that's kind of funny. Exactly. I don't know. But yeah, even just like thinking about that, I like this kind of different, you're just going to be doing something different in the gameplay approach to it. I feel like there is something appealing about that I think it doesn't call out to people the same way that like a Mario Odyssey level game or like a Tears of the Kingdom level game does, but it might call out to people the same way that like a Forgotten Land does. And if it can, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Forgotten Land's not a bad comparison. These are essentially transformations, but it just seems like more that they are leaning, more into building everything around the transformation rather than it being an optional part of the game by and large. So I'm more curious just to know like how deep does it go? Like how long are these chapters? Are you stuck as that character for that chapter? What abilities do they all have? How long? Are there multiple chapters for each costume or levels, whatever? I could call them chapters. I got the Paper Mario obsession in my head. I think Thousand Year Door remaster. But yeah, I'm curious. They got me intrigued. That's what I want. I want to see more of it now. My only concern is like, are they all of equal caliber? Are some less fun than others? Are there going to be parts of the game that I just want to skip and not bother with as that particular outfit costume? But we'll see. So
ripe for a musical themed rhythm game.
Yes. Yes.
Man, I would love that.
I want Princess Peach to sing.
Yes.
I want her to sing. That'll be amazing. That'd be so great. Like give her her own peaches,
Yeah. No, that'd be such a good time. I feel like it is almost a guarantee. Really looking forward to seeing it. Yeah, I don't know. This I feel like I'm not seeing the same level of hype that I have for this game around the internet, and I don't even know why. It's calling to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's I'm not quite sure either. Maybe it's just kind of the more subdued way that they introduced it with the teaser that didn't tell us anything. Maybe that kind of like cap the hype initially, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe people won't know what to expect of this game when it comes out. Be like, oh, this game's actually really good, and they'll be interested in checking it out. But yeah,
I do love these little 3D games, not like full open world 3D, just kind of like almost like Super Mario 3D World style. This is something that I'm just like, man, I want more little games like this. If they ever, complete tangent, if they ever did a Donkey Kong game like Mario 3D World, dear God.
Oh yeah, I think that would have massive potential. Like, mix the idea. I mean, basically, what these games are, like 3D World, Luigi's Mansion, and now seemingly this. It's kind of combining the best of 2D and 3D, right? Like you have limited free movement, but still within a confined space, and you always know where to go. So I think that's pretty smart, and I'm excited to see more of it.
Me too. All right. Princess Peach Showtime, available March 2024. We're both very excited about it. I want to hear why you are or are not excited for it in the comments below. Fun fact, if you're trying to pre-order this game, they added it to the Nintendo Switch voucher system, so you can use one of those puppies. Might be time to get yourself 2 more vouchers. based on the games that they announced for next year. I feel like that's what I'm going to be doing. I like getting these digital games. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.